Well, good afternoon, folks. This is Bill Costanzo, Livestock Guardian Dog Research Specialist at the AgriLife Center in San Angelo. Today we'll be covering our Q&A session for this month. I would like to thank all the Sheep and Goat Predator Management Board for providing funding for my position here at the center, and also Dr. Redden for providing direction and oversight of the program. So with that, we do have about five or six questions, I think, today. And if anybody has any questions they want to try to get answered during the session today, feel free to go ahead and post those in the comments. So our first question is from Landon. He wants to know if we can help with some suggestions in selecting the best breed of livestock guardian dog. They currently do 100% grass-fed rotational cattle, sheep, and layer chickens. They've lost a lamb, and they need to prepare for the future to prevent other losses from happening. They're in a semi-residential area, so they're hoping for something with low roaming tendencies. And they've currently been looking at Maremmas and Anatolians, but they'd like some suggestions. So, Landon, I guess what I would say is, I think one of the breeds you're looking at is the perfect breed for you. I would recommend the Maremma to you. From working with some breeders and some larger producers that we have, and then also having Maremmas in the bonding project that we've had here. Our experience shows that those dogs tend to stay very close to their herd. And so they don't want to wander out. They're kind of a close-in type of a dog. And so that's the one that I would encourage you to look at for sure. I think I would probably stay away from the Anatolian Shepherds in our experience, and having those dogs here at the center and mixes of dogs with Anatolian Shepherd in them, they tend to want larger territories to guard. And so, if you're a large producer, I think those would be a great dog for you. But since you're in a semi-residential area, that probably wouldn't be the breed for you. You may also want to look at Akbash. Akbash, tend to be a little bit more aggressive towards town dogs and just kind of threats to their livestock in general. And so, if town dogs are going to be an issue for you, that may be a breed that you might want to look at. Also, if you're here in Texas, the Akbash are going to have short haircoats, and so that makes life a little bit easier. But I would definitely, if it was up to me, I'd probably pick the Maremma if I was in your situation. So our next question up is from a person that's on the Facebook page quite a bit, Connie Werner. So thanks for submitting a question for us, and I'll talking back and forth when we do about dog stuff. So she wants to know at what age do I feel is best for adding a pup to existing dogs? And so I guess I'd say, Connie, if your guardian dogs are basically a healthy bunch, and nobody's roaming off or anything like that, so you've got a good set of dogs, I would probably think about 7 years of age is when I would think about getting a pup. I think that's a good age. Most guard dogs are probably not going to make it past 10, maybe 11 years. We did just recently retire Queenie at 14, but, she was definitely slowing down an awful lot. And so I would probably start at 7 years. That way, too, if you get a pup and for some reason they don't work out, you've still got time to get another pup in there and go through the bonding process and getting it through those teenage months and adolescent times and all that stuff, and being able to still keep your other dogs working. So that would be my recommendation for you. Next question up today is from Jill. She's got wants to know if there are any suggestions for breaking a mouthing habit for an almost 1-year-old Polish Tatra. She likes to grab people's hands, but she says not really animals. It's just people, apparently. And so I guess one thing, I guess I would say is I had a livestock guardian dog at one time. He was normally a pretty good dog. And one day he was trying to keep a person that I had come over. I was on vacation. They were trying to take care of the dog and feed him while we were gone. And he was definitely acting abnormally. And, he was grabbing her hand with his mouth, trying to take her away from a certain location. He was getting in between her and the barn. And anyway, what ended up happening is there was a homeless person that had made camp inside of our barn. And so, I'm hoping it's not a situation like that where your dog is trying to keep you from, keep you safe and trying to lead you out of an area where there could be some sort of a predator threat or something like that. If that's not the case, and just kind of anytime you're out in the pasture with the livestock or whatever, the dog's grabbing your hand, I would just try something as simple as some bitter apple spray. Spray that on your hand, and I would allow the dog to actually grab your hand and not pull away and try to get that bitter apple taste in his mouth. I would think that's probably going to deter him probably quite a bit. If that still doesn't deter him, though, I would probably move to like a shock collar, especially since he's on a yearling at this point. He really shouldn't be probably doing that kind of behavior. And, anytime he comes over, I probably wouldn't, a lot of times I recommend like, hey, a good strong shock and to stop that behavior. But in this situation, you probably don't want a very strong shock because you don't want the dog to become afraid of coming over to you or be difficult to try to catch. So I would work with probably like just especially a tone on the collar. And then, some of these collars will tone, vibrate, and also shock. And so I would try to find a collar like that if the bitter apple doesn't work, and try to just work with the tone and maybe the vibrate first in a very low level shock on it. And I think after that, I think that would probably solve your problem, Jill. So next up, we've got a question from Rebecca. She says they've got a cattle herd that is near her sheep flock, and her livestock guardian dog sometimes goes back and forth between both. And she's concerned that when she rotates her cattle farther away, that maybe the dog is going to go back and forth with the cattle and may end up having to cross a road, and she's worried about the dog getting hit. And so she wants to know if possibly putting a drag on the dog would work, or if we have any other suggestions for keeping the dog with the sheep flock. And she said this is her first season with sheep and a livestock guardian dog. Well, Rebecca, I'll just tell you this, since this is your first year, you're going to make a lot of mistakes with your first dog. Everybody does, and so it's good that you're reaching out and trying to get some help and some tips from somebody. I guess one question I had, and I'm not sure if you're logged on here today live with us, but the first question I had for you was, I was curious if the dog was bonded just to your sheep, or, if cattle were also in the mix. If that was the case, then it's going to kind of be difficult to keep her with the sheep because she's going to want to be with both species. Now, if she was only bonded with sheep, you could try a drag if your pastures are open. Either a tire drag or just a straight chain drag would work. But what might be a better thing, because she's probably either going to be going under fences, through fences, or over fences. And so, I would probably put a yoke on her. You just have to make sure that, it's short enough on one end and weight it so that short end is at the bottom so that she can lay down and, still get to water, still get to feed and that type of thing. If you're looking for, how to make a yoke, I would encourage you to go onto our website here at the center. I've got a fact sheet that goes through step by step on how to make a yoke for a dog that's adjustable and can be used multiple times for you. The other thing I guess I would caution you or suggest to you is possibly using some hot wire. That works really well to keep the dogs contained in a specific location, or even going to like an invisible fence system like we have here at the center that we use for retraining some of the dogs. And so if you're interested in an invisible fence system, feel free to reach out to me and I can give you the contact information for the company that we use. Since you're new, I guess I would want to tell you this, that sometimes people want to restrict these dogs to a specific pasture or a specific species, and they really do know more about what's going on than we do. And so, you may be having predators in that area where your cattle are at, and you just don't know it. And so I would encourage you to put out some game cameras and kind of keep an eye and see what's happening in that area, because there's a reason that your dog is going over there. And it's most likely because there's predators there, and she knows more than what you think you do about what's happening. So, if that's the case and you see some predators, with your cattle, I'd probably encourage you to get a second dog and try to bond that dog strictly with cattle. I'm not going to be a big help for you on bonding to cattle because we specialize in sheep and goats here. But again, I can give you contact information for a friend of mine that's doing some bonding with cattle out in California. So next question up is from Sandra Bowles. She says she's got a young dog that's being raised with some poultry, and the dog's been really great with them. They've had a couple oops that ended up in the death of 2 birds. They're still working through it to get him back on track, though. And she says she knows it was owner error the first time for sure. The dog's about 14 months old, and so I think she's wanting some help with that. And then she had another question about my thoughts on spaying and neutering working dogs. So I'll go with your poultry question first. Again, what we do here is sheep and goats, and that's what we specialize in. The poultry situation, the biggest thing I can tell you is, one, anytime you're bonding a dog to poultry, you just really got to, figure that there's going to probably be some birds that may have to be sacrificed in this training process. It's just kind of the thing that you're going to have to deal with. It's very easy for the birds to have a heart attack and die because they're scared of the dog, for the dog to grab one of the birds and squeeze just a little bit too much and kill them that way. So, one of the most important things with poultry is really take the process slow, a lot slower than what you would do with bonding to any type of larger livestock. It's best to start with a young pup, put them into a pen that's inside of your poultry area, and let them, see and hear what's going on a regular basis. And then, every day or every other day, take the dog out, have a dog tethered or on a leash and have them interact where they're contained, though, with those birds. In this situation, I would probably go back, since you had a couple deaths, and I would probably tether the dog on a regular basis and, bring some, either your chickens or your geese up to the dog, let him smell them. If he goes to grab them at any point, then I would discipline the dog right there. They need to know quickly that, what is wrong behavior and what is right behavior. And so probably also have some treats, if the dog is just sitting there with them and not trying to bite them or chase them or anything like that. Obviously reward the dog for that kind of behavior. If at any point, once you get the dog loose, like for instance, off a tether, and, you see him chasing or grabbing any of the birds or anything like that, I'd go back to having him on a tether again and, kind of repeat that process. He's definitely not an adult yet, even though he's 14 months of age. He's kind of, definitely still in that adolescent phase or those teenage months that I talk about a lot. And so, he's got some training that he needs to have still and extra supervision from you to become a good livestock guardian dog. So don't give up on him. And if we can help you out anymore, feel free to reach out to me. As far as addressing your spay and neutering questions, we fix all the dogs that leave our program here, usually about 10 to 12 months at the latest, usually about 10 or 11 months of age. The idea behind that is usually by that point, they're pretty close to, full structural size. They're definitely not fully mature yet, mentally, especially mentally, but their overall size is pretty close. And so one of the biggest problems, obviously, with livestock guardian dogs is roaming. And, a lot of the breeders that we work with, continually tell us that these dogs have a very strong natural breeding instinct. And so you want to curb that because, if you have a male dog and they smell a female on the wind, they're going to leave your area to go try to find that female and get bred. And the same thing if you've got a female. You're either going to have males coming onto the property, or she's going to leave and try to go get bred. And you're just having a problem that you can try to minimize or eliminate by getting them spayed or neutered, around that 10 to 12 month mark. If you're a smaller producer and, you can keep an eye on your dogs and keep them very well contained, you got excellent fencing, maybe hot wire and that kind of thing, I would say you could wait a little bit longer. But for us in the situation that we have and producers that we work with, they don't have that ability. And so that's why we fix the dogs at that age. We haven't seen any issues with adult size or structural problems come up in any of our dogs, and we've been fixing them all by that age for many years. So that would be my recommendation to you. I would double check, make sure that there's no hip or elbow dysplasia, in that line of dogs or from that breeder that you got, because fixing them early could make that an issue. We haven't seen any of those issues come up because we buy dogs from or get dogs donated from good reputable breeders here in Texas. And so if you need any help with that, I'd encourage you to go on to the Texas Guard Dog Association and go to the breeder page, and there's a lot of good breeders on that site. Next question up is from J&L Farms. They've got 2 5-month-old dogs, and they want to know what age we think it's okay for them to be out in the field with their 2 other 5-year-old dogs at night. Currently, the pups hang out with them in the day, and so I'm assuming they bring them back in close at night. They said their predator load is mainly coyotes and bobcats. So I guess I would recommend, probably 8 to 10 months of age. That's basically, the time frame that we send pups out of the bonding project. I've been keeping them a little bit longer the last round or two, just to try to eliminate and get a little bit better handle on any teenage issues that might come up in the dogs. But if you've got 2 5-year-old dogs that are good dogs that don't have any bad habits, I would say, probably 8 to 10 months of age. I really look at, the structure of the dog and their overall size is really what kind of determines when I send them out. That's usually a better idea than a set date or a set age. So usually our dogs by 8 to 10 months of age are usually large enough structurally that if there's a pair of them, they can handle any type of threat. And so if you've also got 2 older dogs, I would say probably around 8 months or so, depending on, the breed and then the size of your pups, is when I would probably send them out to be out full time working with those other 2 dogs. So those are all the questions we had sent in ahead of time today. It looks like I've got at least one question in the comment section here. So, Caroline wants to know if we can recommend a good book for somebody new to training livestock guardian dogs. She needs a basic understanding from beginning to end. Yes, I can. I wish I happened to have a copy in my office here. I've been moving and I packed up some of my books here, but it's a kind of a green colored book. You can get it on Amazon. It's not very expensive. It's the 2nd edition that's out, and I believe it's called Livestock Guardian Dogs, Selection and Training. And that's a very good book. I refer to that a lot of times still. And then I'd also encourage you to go onto our website. There's a booklet from Australia that is really a good book. I wish more people knew about it. A professor down there wrote that thing, and it's got everything that you probably ever wanted to know about livestock guardian dogs, plus a whole bunch of case studies that they had done. The thing I really like about it is it's got like a help section. And so there'll be a lot of common questions, in there, like, my dog's chasing, what do I do? And so then she has some recommendations on there. Let me see if I can, pull that up real quick here for you and get you the name of that specific file. It's from Dr. Van Bommel. Like I said, she's down in Australia, and it'll be the best management practices for livestock guardian dogs. That would be the one. And while I'm here, let me look on Amazon real quick for you, and I can send you or post a link for that other book that I mentioned. So it's Livestock Protection Dogs, Selection, Care, and Training is the name of the first book. That's a really good one. And I'll see if I can get it posted here in the comments for you. There you go, Carolyn. So like I said, that's a good one. And then the best management practices, if you go into our livestock guardian dog page on our website, you'll find like a literature tab. Click on that tab, and then you'll have to just search through there for the best management practices from Dr. Van Bommel. But those are the two books that I recommend everybody. I strongly encourage anybody listening today to get a hold of a copy of the book that I posted, and also that manual from Dr. Van Bommel. Just a lot of really good information contained in both of those. So, well, I think that's all the questions we've got today. Somebody was asking about posting a link to the booklet from Australia. I will get that posted here in a minute. For y'all also. So I'll have to find it on our website, but I know where it's at, and we'll get it taken care of for you. If there's no other questions, I think that's it for today, folks. I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this month's Q&A session. We'll have another one of these the first Thursday in May at 3 o'clock again. So if you miss getting a question on here, there. One last quick question. Looks like William, what can we do for you? I'll wait here for you to get that posted, and maybe I can find that deal on our website for you. Well, while we're waiting, William, if you don't get a chance to get it posted pretty quick there, I might just have to catch you the next time, or if I'll send it over to me, and I'll get your question answered. Okay, so William's got his question. Is there any level of play that is acceptable of a pup with livestock? His pup Bear will kind of play a little sometimes when feeling frisky, not really attacking, but just jumping around. I guess I'd say, William, I see that in our pups, and a puppy is going to be a puppy. And you have to expect some of that type of behavior out of your dogs, really all the way up through adolescence until they get to be about 18 months of age. That stuff kind of thing should start slowing down in your dogs, the closer they get to that 2-year mark. But, I would say as long as, they're not chasing, they're not biting, they're not chewing on anything, I would try to, if they're in a bonding pen, it's a good time when they're starting to do that kind of thing to tether train them, or, to do some leash training with them. Don't be afraid to, take your pups out of the bonding pen and just take them on a walk around your ranch or around the area of the bonding pen, just to get them to interact with other things that are in the general area. It'll also help burn off some of that puppy energy. One thing that I see, a lot of times with producers is, they'll have pups in a bonding pen, but they don't increase the size of that bonding pen as that pup ages. And so, if you've kept a puppy from, say, 8 weeks, until 6 or 8 months of age in a very small, confined area, they're going to have a lot of built up energy. And when you release them, they're going to have a lot of adolescent issues come up because they haven't been able to burn off all that puppy energy that they have over time. You can discourage that behavior, and depending on how much of that behavior is actually going on, without kind of seeing a video, William, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to give you too much more help, but feel free to drop me an email, and I can definitely take a look at a short video or several short videos if you've got or can get those of what your pup's doing. But some of that is definitely going to be expected because they are a puppy. You just kind of have to be careful of how much and when that type of thing is going on. Again, I go back to have a game camera in your bonding pen. You can learn a lot of stuff when you're not there, by checking out pictures. Maybe it's just the puppy's excited to see you and that's when he's doing this kind of stuff. But if you don't have a game camera there, you can't really tell what's happening and when. So hopefully that answers your question, William. If not, I'm sure you've got my email. And I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate everybody's support out there of our program. Again, I do want to thank the Sheep and Goat Predator Management Board for providing funding for us. And we'll see you all next month. Thank you very much for tuning in today.